To the SorareAndrews show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined as always by Andy Black, who you can find as Black on Sorare. Andy, I was thinking like a few minutes ago that I keep calling this the SorareAndrews podcast, and our logo says that, but definitely more people watch us than listen to us. And so,
Hmm.
like, calling it a podcast, which is definitely like an audio medium, but it's mostly video. So I just called it the SorareAndrews show, and it just felt weird.
Yeah, I don't. Do people like? Does that matter to people? Like what you call it?
I don't know.
It might.
It might. I feel like it would bother people who listen to this audio version when we constantly talk about like shared screens and like, oh, this looks
Yeah.
so cool, and I like tried to describe it, but I don't know. That's just the thought I had. Anyway, thank you to everyone who joined us, including the first comment here 30 minutes ago from Andy Black. Whoa, he was first. Way to join in. I'm going to give Misaki the real first here. But we have a few people here. John Andrews and Hitanis Komchai is how I would say that, but that's all I'm going to try. We're doing this at a different time due to just some stuff that I had come up, which absolutely kills all of our European audience, at least for the live stuff. I assume Mike Baston's sleeping right now and everyone else who tends to do that. So apologies for those who like to join in live. And if you're taking the replay, you can still like that video below. Everybody here who's live, you can like that too. Andy, the topic of today was that you think we're in a dip,
Oh, do I?
and you really nailed this dip call last time. Do you actually
I'm
think
not.
we're in a dip?
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit here like this, and I'm going to let you talk.
I think
I think we're in a
we're
dip.
in a dip.
I think so. Like, but what is a dip? What does that mean?
Um,
Like,
just things are going down.
are they? But why? Why matters, right?
So there you go.
If it's
That's right.
just a seasonal thing, then is that a dip, or is it just like seasonal um, price changes?
Yeah. We talked about this in a Discord the other day. Maybe it was yesterday. They're all a blur at this point. And somebody was like, "Are we concerned that there's like we had like the lowest day of the year a few days ago?" And my response was like, "I had no worry. Not that like I'm totally like obviously you want every day to go up, but like every day can't go up, and so you have to
I
kind
think
of like
that
put it in
it,
perspective."
it might even be concerning if every day it just went up and up and up, right?
You mean like this
Like,
chart here of the users that seem to just constantly go up?
well, that chart has to go up, and I think people forget that sometimes. But that chart has to always go up. Like if
You
I
would hope
sell
so.
my gallery, that doesn't like erase me from the game.
True.
I don't. Well, I guess it does, right? I
As
don't
long
know.
as you keep one card, you're fine.
Yeah.
Selling my entire gallery except one card so that I can keep boosting the Sorare stats.
Yeah.
That's all. But yeah, no. Obviously, I did that show with Pap recently, just kind of like explaining the Sorare market and how like there are a number of things that go into card prices and card volume and whatnot. But I think we all kind of assumed that like European card prices would go down around now because we learned our lesson from MLS that card prices don't dip or don't get to the bottom, I'll put it, after the season ends, but it's actually before the season ends because people are already getting out early. We saw the MLS spike before the MLS season started, and we saw the same thing with J League and K League. And then we kind of not even evened out. It starts to go down when everybody has their cards for the new season. And now we're kind of like, oh, the Asia cards are going down because we have the new season. So we have the huge supply of new cards. MLS cards are any day now. You'd hope. So it all just
Do
seems to be.
do we hope though
Do we hope what?
that they come out any day now?
I just I
I
just
mean,
want to see.
when we're talking
real.
about like worried about dips or worried about like prices going down, I mean, they release a whole bunch of supply. We know what's going to happen to prices.
Yeah, I guess the way that I just always have looked at it is, uh, and it's different for people how they play so rare, but like I usually, my focus is SO5, and I generally don't sell cards that I use in SO5. So like the value of those cards, which are like what I would consider my better cards, like the day-to-day value,
Yeah.
like just doesn't matter to me.
Yeah,
And
and I agree
so
100%. I don't some people I know keep track of their gallery values on a short-term basis. I just don't look at it. It's like
it's
unhealthy.
yeah, it's funny you say that because we actually had a suggestion from someone. Like I got a DM asking if we could create an option on Sorare data where you could hide your gallery value and the value of your cards.
Hmm.
Because they were like, I'm just not sure it's like healthy in the short term for a lot of people. And I was like, boy, that's silly because that's like something that everybody likes to do. And then the more I thought of it, I was like, it's not a terrible idea. Just because you get so caught up in like what your gallery is worth. And for a lot of people, like the data, it doesn't matter. Like if you're
Yeah.
not selling today, the value of whatever you have like doesn't matter. And I don't know. So like I don't think it matters that the value of cards may be going down with the new MLS ones. I will say that the price difference between the new Asia cards and the old ones is so much bigger than I expected it to be.
You said the price difference
Yeah, so like the new cards are like significantly more expensive than the ones on the
because of that
secondary
five
market
percent bonus.
because of the bonus. Yeah. And
Hmm.
it's like, it's something that we always said, and it obviously makes the most sense to get the 5% bonus like now, because then you can just ramp up the whole season.
Yeah,
But
by the end of the year, you'll have cards with 10, 11%.
right, right. And then you lose it, but then at least you're starting the next season at
Right.
5 and 6%. But yeah, like I forget what card it was that I bought recently. Um, but yeah, like the new card was like 30% higher. And there were like multiples that were like 30% higher. And it even got to the point where like people posting on the secondary market weren't even trying to match the new cards. It was almost like a dual pricing system of like on the secondary market, like the new cards are up here and the old cards are down here. And as
It'd be
much as we
cool if you
say,
guys could show some of that, or if there was like I don't know. That
yeah,
sounds like a mess, but
yeah, I mean, it's probably doable, but yeah, it was just like I wasn't expecting that, mostly because like Sean has always said that on our show, that like you always want older cards because it means that there's like more XP built up. Hopefully it hasn't changed hands 100 times already, but like the faster you get to level 20, yeah, like the better. And new cards obviously are further away from that, but I don't know. I felt like I had this weird like battle with myself of like XP is really important, but I'm also not willing to pay extra for this current season bonus, even though like that's the point of the bonus. So I go out and buy these new cards. So I don't know. I don't know what's
couple things from Chad. I agree with AJ. That would be cool if there was uh, the auction volume and offer volume charts could be like a week to week basis, just to kind of smooth it out and get rid of all that. I guess part of that is like the deadline noise where it like
Mhm.
pops up and then like the day after it drops way down, and you just get a lot of those jaggy lines in the chart. Someone's joining us from Australia. That's pretty
A
cool.
few of them.
Yeah.
So they love this time. They don't need those damn Europeans taking up all the chat.
Hopefully, we can assist you with being unproductive this morning at work.
Yeah, I don't know. So what is this from AJ? Why don't they make the bonus 12 months per card? So cards till at the end of the season don't have that happen to them. Makes it smoother for everyone. It is
I
the
don't hate it.
worst winning a
Yeah.
card like the last week they're available and losing that
Yeah.
5% just immediately.
Was it? Yeah, you won that Alex Bono card, and You told me this morning the first thing you want to do with that thing once you can is sell it. Yeah.
It's on the market. It hasn't sold yet.
Hopefully it like I told you this morning, hopefully it sells before Westberg gets the job back.
Yeah. Maybe I'll buy Westberg too. Just what I want to do. Own multiple Toronto FC goalkeeper cards.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. So
2 a.m. in the UK. We appreciate you, King Kaizan.
wow. I would never do that. Sorry.
You go to bed at like nine. Like we're up past your bedtime right now.
Oh, I would have gone to sleep like an hour ago. Yeah. Hey, Jimmer. Yes, we're live. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's just so much. So I'm glad you brought this up. So Yesue Jose says, you ever find yourself convincing someone that 4.5% on an old card that you're selling is better than 5% on the new cards? I have found myself trying to convince people and they just don't care. They're just like, no, 5 is more than 4.5. And I'm like, today it is. That's right. Yeah. I don't know. So are you taking advantage of this dip by buying cards?
No. It's a weird part of the season, and I think other people are probably like me, where they're kind of set up for this season. They're set up for the remainder of the season, so it makes it difficult to buy. And the cards I would really love to buy right now are those European cards that have really dipped. And I was actually giving advice to somebody today. I was like, I would be looking at, the Belgian league teams that missed the top 8 but aren't getting relegated, like Circle Bruges, and there's a few others that kind of fell into that gap. Those cards are really going to drop if they haven't already. I think most of them probably already have. But those would be good cards to target. But I think the scary thing for me personally is I like to do like stacks or strategic things. And we have a summer transfer window coming up, and you could buy a card that you think is useful, and then they, like a good example last year, I had Thomas Henry, who was great in the Belgian league. Just great. Like he scored every game, and no AA or anything, but you knew he was getting a goal. And then he went over to Serie A on like one of the bottom half teams, and just like I think he plays a little bit, maybe he doesn't play a little bit. I don't know. I've stopped following him, but he doesn't score goals. I know that. And I think you'll just see a lot of those movements where guys will go to tougher leagues and become useless. And then you'll have guys that go from those, those types of roles where they're on a bottom of the table Serie A team and then come back to Belgium and crush. So I think when it comes to the European leagues, people are going to be doing a lot of waiting to see where guys land.
Yeah, I had this.
He scored some goals this year, by the way.
Yeah, he had a few. One last week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had this. Like it was last summer, or no, excuse me, last spring. Basically, yeah, a year ago, maybe it was closer to May, where I kept like a list. I think I've mentioned this before. Like I kept a list of like cards that I was like tracking. It was basically before Sorare did a watch list. I just did it in an Excel spreadsheet. And I remember the two guys that like stick in my head were Charles de Ketelaere and Luis Sinisterra. And I remember I tried to get CDK and I thought 0.125 ETH was too much. And Sinisterra was like the same price. And I was like, yeah, it's like, that's too much. I'll wait for it to dip a little more. And then like by the beginning of the season, they were like 1 ETH. It was just like, and like, I knew that was coming. And it's coming like right now. Obviously, those two are more expensive, but like there are other guys that kind of fit that mold. And I should have obviously like budgeted ETH for now. But then when like MLS starts, when all the good, like that's where my better cards are. And I'm like, oh, I need to improve here. I need to improve here. Oh, I need to buy 5 under 40 L15 limited cards. And like all of a sudden I like do all these moves and I'm like, oh, I like don't have a budget now to buy anything and it's like guys that I want, that I should be buying now. Like even forgetting guys like those two, because like U23s I think are the toughest, because obviously like one big transfer and they're just dead for a little bit, and there's nothing worse than like spending a ton. Like I hate to like call out Nellis on this, but like the Coop Miners thing last year was like a perfect example. Like he was awesome as a U23 when he was in where did he play? Why am I
He's in
blanking
the
on?
Eredivisie somewhere.
PSV, is that where he was?
Yeah,
Or AZ Alkmaar?
somewhere over
One
there.
of them. Yeah. And then he goes to Milan, he's terrible. Or not terrible, he's just not playing. And it's like it's tough to like look at some of the big U23 guys now. Yeah, Kokchu is the good example for this one. Or, like they're talking about Gravenberch going to Bayern Munich, or, if you have somebody like Jesper Karlsson, or like guys who maybe not are in that like superstar tier, but like they're really good U23 players, and like they could just transfer, and you're just like, oh, all right, I'm never going to hear from this kid again. And so like using some of your ETH balance on guys like that now, like you're obviously getting them cheaper,
Right.
but man, they could just kill you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Szymanski's another one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking somebody else just popped in my head. Now I can't remember who. I was thinking of who it would be. I don't know, but it's it's just like it's tough to look at guys like that. Oh, the other one was Pedro Gonçalves. So like he is awesome, but he's actually losing his U23. So that's another thing of like guys who lose their U23. If he stays at Sporting, like he could be great, but he's priced, like the price obviously has dropped because he's losing U23, but it was so high because he was U23 that like if he was already 26, like his price would have never gotten to where it was. So it's like it just takes forever the prices go down. Like João Felix was another one that like when you start at 2 ETH and you barely play, like people aren't going to give you up for 0.5. So it just like never really drops. And so when you kind of like now you look at prices in April and they're dipping and you're like, oh, that's pretty cheap for that guy. But like come
Yeah.
August, or July, when the transfer window opens, like we just have no idea.
Yeah. This game definitely can punish you, and the punishments are severe. You look at any of these guys that you just talked about, where they were maybe a 2 ETH card or whatever, they get that transfer, you're punished, and it's severe. And all of these like ups and downs on these players, like when they turn 24 and they're no longer 23 anymore, that's a severe decline in value. And yeah, it happens over time, but it's pretty harsh. Can you pull up his price graph?
Apologies for saying he went to Milan. I forget it was Atalanta. He didn't even get new cards. So the price graph.
There's probably just very little volume on his cards. Yeah.
I mean, he was
That's a
like
tough
over
one.
2 ETH. I don't know what the fiat was because I don't care, but
Some people care, Laird.
but he was awesome.
Yeah.
Here, I'll put it in fiat. And it'll look even worse. Oh.
Yonose, I want to say that looks like a STL City logo you have there. So props there. That's good to see.
So Abba Mix said, sorry, missed the early part. Isn't this dip exclusive to European leagues and a correction to overrated America and Asia player values? I think you are partially right on that. I don't think it's a correction to to the American Asia players. Like, I don't think people were overpaying because they thought the players were better than they are. I think they were overpaying because they just wanted players. Like the season's starting up. So
I think it might be like a system-wide correction. Like it was a correction was needed. Everything was going up, 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 up. Like correction was probably needed. So it was probably a correction across the board, and then market forces on top of that because of SO5 gameplay.
Right. No, yeah, I think that's fair.
Seasons ending, stuff like that.
Yeah. But I think it's all understandable. Like it's not like if you told somebody a month ago, like, oh, MLS prices are going to be lower once the season starts, and European prices are going to go down because there's only a month left, you'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then it happens, and everyone's like, oh my god, what happened?
Do you think people collectively though are just getting more intelligent and more prepared for like the dips, and they're preparing even earlier? Like maybe this dip was just like the quote unquote dip was just earlier than, was it earlier than last year? I don't know. I was looking at the offer volume from last year and it looked like it was around the same time when, but
It's
again,
just
different market forces because that was the boom. Like March was the boom, and I don't know.
this is when I was going to buy CDK. How much was? Let's see, June 1st. It was actually before June. I'll cherry pick this one. Point oh, oh god, 068.
That's absurd.
So it had to have been after that because I thought 0.125 was too much. So I guess it was June. I waited until. God, that was stupid. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. It was this one. I went a year ahead. Yeah. Oh, John Nellis. Look at that. From Pavel. 0.125. Great buy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think dip was camouflaged by the boom. Maybe.
I think. I mean, you look at the dip last year; it was pretty severe. I feel like.
I think the big problem with trying to compare the past 2 years is that we didn't have. I mean, like this is the Gary V boom was absurd. Oh wait,
Right.
that's offer volume too, but the auctions, yeah. I mean, like I think the biggest difference that we don't account for is that limited cards made it a lot easier for people to not buy rares.
Hmm.
And last year we didn't have that option. We only had rares. And so
What
if
is?
the push, like if
I'm
you were
just.
pushed to buy cards, you're buying more, like more expensive cards, basically.
Hmm,
But like we had so many fewer users
right. I
and
don't. Yeah, I don't know
fewer
how much that
scarcity.
matters.
It's really tough to like just look at last year and be like, oh, this is what happened. But like the conceptually, it all makes sense to compare. Like, yes, prices are going to go down when utility goes down, and utility short term utility is way down for the European cards right now, and way
Hmm.
up for the American and the Asian ones. So it's as simple
Right.
as that. AJ, the SD50 index is getting a makeover, which is why, and we didn't like what it was doing, so we removed it from the site while we worked on an improvement. So that's why you can't find it anymore.
I like that, AJ. Like there are, and I should say AJ and JA, John Andrews, because there are so many factors, and we'll never clearly understand all of them like beforehand. So just like a good response to that is just to always be nimble, and stuff's going to be unexplainable.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was Evaldo months ago who was like, at some point there might be a dip that, like not even a dip, like a full fledged crash
He
from a
refer. I
factor
think
that nobody sees coming.
did he refer to it as a black swan event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
you don't see those coming. That's why they're called that.
Or gremlins. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can't like sit here and be like, oh, we think it's coming because like fundamentally it's something we do not see coming. So
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't happen anyway, though. But I think this dip is fully explained. And I think you're not necessarily going out on a limb when you say that we're in a dip, unlike the last time you said we were in a dip when we were clearly not in one.
No. Hold on. Last time I said a dip was coming, but
You're correct.
we were already in the dip.
We were already in the dip.
Yeah.
Yes. Jimmer, it's funny you bring up the Sorare meetup at Steel City because I became like a Steel City member yesterday.
Oh. How does that happen?
I just paid them some money and they send me some t-shirts.
Oh.
But I'm part of their membership club now.
Well, I'm pretty jealous. I think I need to be part of their members only club. Do you get a cool jacket?
I get 2 T-shirts.
Okay.
And
We'll have to talk to Evaldo. If it's like a members only club, then we need a members only jacket.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
The difficulty is that I think I get 4 tickets to every game, and given that it's in Chicago and I don't live in Chicago,
I mean, that's for Jimmer and I. That's probably like a 3-hour drive. We could probably make that. I don't know if we'll be able to make it home though.
I can't help you on either front. I can get you in the game. That's it.
Okay, fair enough.
I was kind of hoping it would include to give a little clarity to what we're talking about. Steel City FC is a 4th division team outside of Chicago. Maybe they're in Chicago. They're probably in Chicago.
I think they're in Joliet, which is, a suburb.
Okay, suburb of Chicago. Evaldo, who has been on this podcast twice with 2 excellent episodes, I recommend everybody go back and listen to them. One was the currency bundle, and the other one was why I left Sorare. So he was on Sorare and left. And so I highly recommend you guys going back and watching or listening that one. But he owns Steel City FC. He bought this 4th division team and is trying to make it. I assume he's trying to get to MLS. That's my only thought. He wants to take out the Chicago Fire and just be the Chicago rep. But anyway,
I think he's just having a lot of fun.
I hope so. So. And they have some special event coming up next month. Was it the home opener that you sent the flyer for? $2 tacos, $3 beers.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and I haven't. Evaldo's like disappeared because he's so busy with this team. So I actually, part of the reason I did join the membership club was because I thought I'd get an email from him, like thanking me for joining. Didn't get
no
it.
Email, huh? No
Nothing.
Welcome letter, nothing.
I just got a confirmation. We'll ship your T-shirts shortly.
Evaldo totally seems like the type of guy though that doesn't do email yet, and he's still on like snail mail. So
you're right.
So it might be in the mail. You'll get it in a few days.
Right. Maybe a handwritten note. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, I highly recommend anybody who likes to spend their money on 4th division soccer, just go to steelcityfc.org as if they're like some nonprofit organization. Yeah. Club memberships. They have 3 levels.
AJ, that would be amazing. You should totally buy like a 3rd or 4th division team, and
so they play in
the.
What did they play in? It's like the Midwest something or other Premier League or mid.
I don't know. There's so many little tiny leagues like that and 4th division to what? I don't even know what that means. Like,
yeah, I don't know what the 3rd one is because I think is it USL 2?
Well, so it's all messed up now because they have MLS, MLS Next Pro, MLS Next, which is just the youth side, and then there's USL, USL 2. I think there's still PDL, which might be USL 2 now. I don't know. There's the whole structure's a mess.
Yeah, classic American mess. They play in the 20-team Midwest Premier League. I assume they don't go any further than Iowa or Indiana in those directions, but man, these European listeners are going to love this podcast.
We went from talking about a dip to Steel City FC.
Yeah. But yeah, I highly recommend anyone. Oh, they play in the U.S. Open Cup, though. There's that.
Do they really?
Apparently. Well, I mean, let me rephrase. The Midwest Premier League gets a spot in the U.S. Open Cup.
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
You probably have to win 25 games before you play a MLS team. But
yeah.
Anyway, Jimmer's right. I'm guessing no other 4th division teams are being discussed on such a prolific podcast.
Mm-hmm. Show.
That's right. We're watching now. Jimmer's not going to have a podcast to listen to because he's watching the show right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so you said you were not taking advantage of these low European prices. I am not either. Are you doing it because you had other ideas or because you're just dumb like me?
I think I'm dumb. but also like I kind of mentioned before, I like to have plans, or I like to try to make plans. And if I buy guys now, okay, I might be able to use them for like depending on the league. like 6 more game weeks, and then
Yeah.
summer transfers come, and all hell breaks loose. So I guess if I didn't want to buy a player based on plans, and I'm just like, this is a talented player, I want him, then that would be a good idea. I should buy that guy.
Yeah.
Like if it's a player that I just desire. Otherwise, if I'm building around some sort of strategy, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for star players. And obviously those guys are more expensive. So it's not like you're getting guys cheap.
Are those guys dipping?
My definition of star players maybe is a little skewed. I have some price alerts set up from like months ago, and they probably set them up months ago, like way below market value anyway. And I was like, just in case they come out. And I've been getting some of them recently.
Mm-hmm.
One of which was Sebastian Coates, who makes sense in my gallery, but he's always been so expensive. And
Will he make sense next year, though?
I think so. Like I think so. I have a Don, and just playing the two of them, going with the classic peachy stack, like makes sense. So it's like guys like that, and like if you can get like Morioka cheaper, like go for it. But like these are not cheap players, Like it's I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing prices low enough where I'm like, man, if I had been smart and not bought an Osmar super rare 2 days ago when they go on a month-long break,
Yeah.
I'd be able to take advantage of this. But it's also like, so I'm like pissed because I bought a card I can't use for a month, but I'm pissed because I don't have ETH to buy cards that I can't play for 3 months. So it's like I need to figure out what I should actually be pissed about.
Yeah. Jules Kunde, or I don't know how to pronounce. Correct me, please.
Yeah. I know you're talking about.
I have him on one of my watch lists, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's finally hitting on my watch list. But now I'm like, is it just going to drop further, or do I? Yeah, I don't know. So I haven't pulled the trigger yet.
Yeah, I mean, like Coates got up to 0.95. I remember when he got that high, talking to people who had this is for his rare, talking to people who had him, and they were like, "Man, should I sell because this is really high for just like a guy." I mean, he's good. He obviously has good scores, but like,
well, was he good? Has he been good like the last 2 months? I just remember he was so good, and then yeah, he's still been fine. Fine though.
Yeah, he's fine.
I mean, he had that like elite run.
Yeah. Yeah, he has like some weird runs where all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm going to score some goals now.
Right.
But like it's guys like that where I'm just like, is that what I should buy?
John, that's a great strategy for the summer. Hear news of a transfer, scoop up from the depths of Powell's gallery. Yeah. I'll always go back to like my thought of like Powell always wins. So be careful. I forget what we saw the other day. It was a goalkeeper got hurt. Who was it? I was watching an MLS game. Goalkeeper got hurt, and we immediately saw like 3 of them. We were talking about it in chat.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Was it Andre Blake?
Yeah, and Matt Freeze. Somebody bought like 1 or 2, maybe 3 of them. Just went right away, and like. Blake he was down for like 3 minutes, and then you see him get up and he's stretching. It was like, I don't even remember where he got hurt. It was like his shoulder or something. And he's like shaking it out. And we were like, we were having a chat about like the guy that just bought him. What is he thinking right now? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, he's shaking it out. He's good now. I mean, he looked dead for like, he was like not moving on the ground for 2 minutes. And I know that's why he got bought. And then he's like up and at him, back at it. He stays in the game, and then it's halftime because it was like it happened in like the 44th minute.
Oh yeah, it was just before halftime, right?
So that was the other thing. We were like, oh, maybe he'll sub at half, and no, he didn't. He comes back out the tunnel.
Yeah, saved 3 penalties, and he didn't really. Yeah, I think that's always a real dangerous game to play. I also find it funny, just soccer in general, that like is a very physical sport. But if anybody like sneezes on a goalie, he's like dead.
Yeah.
So Jiwa, thank you for joining us from Australia, I believe you are. He said, "Do you think it's odd that Osmar's card is a midfielder when he's clearly a defender?" I think it's outrageous and
Egregious.
egregious and outrageous, and he'd be twice the price if he was a defender. Have you ever seen the score
Yeah.
differences?
I have, yeah.
They're absurd.
Somebody told me to look, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, he'd be the best defender in the game.
Is it just because they get a lot of clean sheets, or is it something he does?
It's that he averages like 90 passes a game.
Okay.
And so with defenders, he's like Timber basically, just passing wherever the hell he wants.
Okay.
It is very strange though that they missed that. Speaking of strange, and I brought this up. I think I brought this up in the Discord that we're in.
Before you move on, whose fault is that? Is that Sorare's fault, or is it Opta's fault, or is it Sorare's fault for listening to Opta?
I think it's the latter. I think it's Sorare's fault for listening to Opta. And
what's the better way of handling that? Just looking at each player individually and making the call?
I think so. Well, I mean, they have an Opta feed, and in an Opta feed, you can see what positions people actually play, and you can just say they take all of these. You know, he plays 80% of his games as center back. Osmar plays 100, and it's like, maybe he shouldn't be a midfielder.
Do you think that should be something that's like locked in at the start of the season, or should it be dynamic? Like after 5 games at playing midfield, he should be a midfield card, and after 5 games at playing defender in a row, we're going to start minting his cards as defender.
Yeah, that's like a whole fantasy baseball thing, right? Where like guys like play second base and then they play 3 games in right field, and I don't think they should change.
You don't think they should change?
No, I don't. It drives me nuts, and I don't think they should change mid-season.
I kind of like the idea of a player having multiple positioned cards, though.
Yeah,
but maybe that is a bad thing, because we had a whole discussion on like people making the mistake of buying the wrong version of a player and it being, yeah.
Well, so I'll bring two legends points up about that. So before last game week, I can't remember if I actually talked to Sean about this on our show or not, but Fabio Cannavaro obviously gets the points from the best defender on Juventus, and Juan Cuadrado has defender and midfielder cards.
Right.
And he's listed as a defender on Sorare, which means he's listed as defender on Sorare data, which is why I was like, oh, let me go buy a Cuadrado card. And then I bought the midfielder card, and I was like, I knew this was a problem, and yet I did it anyway. However, so it turns out that he got the defender score because Cuadrado's listed defender. What really chapped my ass this week is that David Villa's score as a legend, he got Gonçalo Guedes' score as the highest scoring forward on Valencia.
Yeah.
He has no forward cards. Like 0. It's not like he had some midfielder and some forward, but he's listed as a forward on Sorare with 0 forward cards. So you like, if you wanted to, Valencia is like terrible when it comes to like getting legend scores. So like you would never buy David Villa and be like, oh, I could play him as midfield. You get midfielder scores, whatever. Like it doesn't matter. But like that doesn't make sense. Like he's supposed to get.
That's dumb.
It bothered me. It's like still bothering me. And so anyway, no, I don't think you should change positions. Yeah. But I would love it if I could convert my Osmar midfielder card to a defender one. I'll take that.
Yeah.
Just one time change. I won't go back. But that's another one that I think I got cheaper because I was like, oh, new season cards, blah, blah, blah. And then I paid for it. And I was like, I have no idea if I got a deal on this or
not. You mentioned that there's a Korean break.
Yes.
How long is the break, and what's the break for?
It's a month. It's almost a month. Osmar's next game is May 5th. Today is April 12th.
Dang. And do you know the reasoning?
because I
I'll
bought
bet.
the Osmar card. And they were just like, you know what?
I'll bet Rascal or someone in chat knows the reasoning.
I have no idea what the
I
reason
was just
is.
curious.
I
Yeah.
feel like the season just started, and yet
Yeah.
here we are taking breaks already. Yeah, breaking until game week 267, which actually sounds much closer than it is.
That kind of reminds me of almost like that Russian break in the middle of winter where it's like, but that break's actually longer. It's like two whole months or something.
Austria does it too.
Yeah, right.
That was another one where you could have gotten
Well,
a ton of
I did
discount.
I did the whole last stack during that break, and I know a whole bunch of other people did, which has been infuriating because they've been rotating. So the top team in the bottom half has just been like constantly rotating in these games, and I guess they just don't matter that much, and I don't know.
So Misaki and Connor both said it's so that the Korean teams can play in the Champions League.
Mm.
That's ridiculous.
Is it because there's like a lot of travel involved or something?
What's funny is that I used to have an Ulsan stack, like specifically for Champions League, and then it just got decimated, and now I just hate the Asian Champions League.
Yeah. Well, and from what I hear, like teams that play in the ACL, there's tons of rotation because either they're prioritizing that or league or whatever, and
Right.
just it makes it really hard.
Or they like super prioritize it, and then they screw the domestic league games.
Right.
And then Madron gets COVID, and it doesn't matter anyway.
Do we know for sure if it was?
Yeah.
Do we know for sure if it was COVID or not? I'd
No.
heard rumors. Yeah.
Still no idea. They play this weekend too.
I guess we'll find out this weekend.
Yeah, Misaki said they play 6 group games over 2 weeks in a central location, so Champions League teams are all abroad.
Ah.
That makes sense. But it's also ridiculous, and I want my Osmar card to play.
Yeah.
It's a funny concept to like shut a whole league down for that. Although I guess MLS did that for a little bit, didn't they? Or did they just delay games?
I mean,
Yeah, I guess they didn't shut the whole league down. They like rescheduled. I remember a few games last weekend for New York and Seattle.
Yeah, but I mean, like Gold Cup goes on, and we have a ton of players that go report to that, and they just, get reserves to play.
My favorite is when they have like guys leave for international duty like during the playoffs. You're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, Raul Ruiz, that happened.
Diaz did that
a couple years
Bruce
in a row.
Knox done it.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
It just, I don't know what. Maybe it's a really hard job. I don't know. Scheduling that stuff.
Yeah.
So are you buying America cards now? Are you just not buying anything?
I'm just not buying because I bought everything I needed kind of before the season started.
Excuse me.
And then I kind of did the same with like Asia and America, and made little adjustments as the season went on. But I'm like comfortable with like the teams that I have and the teams that I'm planning on running. So it just doesn't really make a ton of sense for me to add players. And I feel like there's probably other people in similar situations.
Makes sense.
I mean, what about you? Is that kind of where you're at?
I have so many holes that I was not expecting. Part of them are injury related, and I just basically didn't leave myself enough wiggle room to like. I knew I was light in certain spots, and then it like really got like thrown at me.
So let's revisit your Champion Europe endeavor. Was that just riddled with injuries, or what happened?
Partially. I had Jonas Hoffman go down for a few weeks. He was one of my earlier guys. And then Moses Simon left for AFCON, which I knew was coming anyway.
Right.
And then Rakitic got banged up a little bit. I feel like there was somebody else. And then the whole Marseille thing, shout out to Quinny. Like, it was the right play. It was the right play at the time.
Yeah.
But that situation has just like ruined me to the point where I was like, I really don't like. if it was,
Hey, you're talking to a guy that owns a Pau Lopez rare and a Pau Lopez super rare. So
yeah, you were
preach,
smart enough to buy
preach.
Mandanda. You have the
Yeah,
Mandanda super rare?
I do. Yeah,
Yeah. So that'll be
but
fun.
I mean, okay, I get to try to guess who's starting now. Fun.
Well, I have Lopez, so we know it's Mandanda. Um,
Sure.
no, I will say that having those cards and playing Champion Europe, I think I've won like 3 cards, which I instantly sold or tried to sell because they were terrible. Was fun. Like it was fun to like know, like I knew those guys, so like it was fine. Like that was kind of the point. I thought it would be more fun,
Yeah.
or I thought it would be for fun, but it's just
You thought it would
not.
be fun, and it wasn't.
It's not that it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't fun, but like, it was just that you know what it is that the prices. It felt to me that the prices of the Champion Europe guys dropped so dramatically, like fast, that like to go back to the Marseille thing, like we've talked about this. Like I was going to buy Lopez and a defender, and it was like, do I buy Luan Perez, Camara, or Coletta Carr? There's somebody else. No, it was those 3. And I was like, Coletta Carr might move because this was in January, so I'm like, I'm not going to buy him. And then it was like between Camara, who I thought might, or I was told would leave. So I was like, maybe I don't want him, even though he's great. And Perez was the most expensive at the time. And I'm like, usually I just take the cheaper guy. In that case, it would have been Coletta Carr. And I'm like, no, it's Champion Europe. I got to go for it. So I bought Luan Perez, and he was like immediately horrific. Then he
They
got
just
hurt,
started rotating him.
and then they started rotating him, and he's worth. So he's one that it's like it doesn't matter what the cards are worth until you want to sell them.
Hmm.
It really matters to me what Luan Perez is worth because it's like a third of what I paid. And now I'm
Yeah.
just like, is it worth me just waiting on him or what? And God, the whole endeavor was terrible. And I want to like sell into this dip, but like selling into a dip seems really stupid.
Yeah.
Like, why would you sell into a dip? That's when
I
prices are
mean,
low.
well, you can take that ETH and go buy another cheap card.
I
Like
could.
if you're selling into the dip just to hold the ETH, then yeah, that's probably not smart if your intention is to use that ETH later to buy cards. But if you're just gonna sell Luan Perez now and then buy a different card, then yeah, you should do that.
I'm really bad at that.
Yeah.
Taking losses
Um,
on cards is like, I rarely do it.
is taking advantage more advantageous for newer folks than more tenured and especially boomers? Yeah, I think that it makes more sense for someone that has a like if your plan is to buy cards and to grow your gallery, now does not seem like an awful time. I mean, you're not buying at a point where I'm not financial advice. I'm not going to tell people when they should or should not buy things, but you look at a chart, and if you buy at the top of the chart, yes, there's more risk there. If you buy when you're closer to the bottom of, said chart, less risk. So I think it could be a good time for some of those people to take advantage. Um,
I
and
think
yeah, yes, way Jose, I agree. This would be a great time if like a new whale came in and wanted to buy like a really good Champion Europe side to try to, you know, win elite cards. They could do that for quote unquote cheap.
just look at Bambi. We're getting some cheap.
Bambi is making moves.
He's gonna have the biggest gallery
You think so?
pretty soon. It's like close now.
Really? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know that Bambi's been going nuts buying stuff. I didn't know that it was that insane.
I'm pretty sure it's insane. Let's see if I can pull up our top 20 managers here. I guess it's not quite as insane as I thought it was, but it's heading to be insane. So Bambi's 11th now in terms of value, and
Wow.
these are like Sorare data values that like uniques are a little tough, and that's what a lot of these galleries buy. What's crazy is that it's like 706 ETH with 254 cards.
Yeah, Bellama is similar. Those are clearly efficient galleries. Fantasy
Ooh.
Teller too. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Roxy's first now with like 3 times the number of cards. Well, not quite 3 times. But why did we bring that up? Oh, the whales coming in and buying. Yeah, I think it's a great time to buy now. Like I think it makes so well. So like I have people like reach out to us to do gallery reviews. Excuse me, and it's funny to like the big question now is like, well, I have this gallery. Should I sell everything to buy like a bunch of cheaper European cards so that I'm ready next season, or do I just try to win now? And it's like, well, if you're, I think honestly, I think the correct move is to do that, is to
It's
not play this summer and buy
right.
the cheap European cards now.
Yeah, like make a really good Belgian team or Eredivisie team, or
Whatever, yeah.
yeah, or yeah,
And U23 is a little tougher. Definitely go buy Van de Voort though, and not financial advice. And um, but other than that, like I think that is the right move because I think the upside of those cards is higher than what you could win this summer. And obviously that depends on, gallery size or, whatever your budget is. But it just feels to me that like the prices of where a lot of the European cards are now will be much higher when the season starts. Now, granted, it doesn't like that almost doesn't matter if you're just going to go play those cards, but you could also just flip them, towards the beginning of the season. Like we know that card prices go up as seasons get closer. It happens
yeah,
every year.
yeah.
Skate
There's
Pricer
that.
is asking if he's ahead of himself for looking at World Cup cards now. Talk about everyone who bought Donnarumma expecting him to be the only U23 World Cup goalkeeper.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess we know now, but I don't think it's worth
I
it.
would, I would be really hesitant about making any sort of World Cup plans or World Cup preparations, and I like gallery decisions based on World Cup. I mean, yes, I hope and pray Sorare does like some huge World Cup tournaments, prizes, things, but I could totally see it just being another international break.
Oh God.
So yeah, you could make some really elite teams, and then
It's just not worth it. There's 17 prizes.
you're playing for 6 cards.
Yeah, I think it's okay if you're comparing two players, that like two similar players, and one of them is like a World Cup player, and that is like a difference maker. But I wouldn't like go out and be like, oh, let me just go get all the World Cup guys I can buy.
Yeah. Yes, way Jose makes a good point. Like the Euros, like everybody was like kind of hyping that, and they did some cool stuff. Like they got the new, like the French cards and the German cards, and there was some cool stuff there. But the prize pools were still pretty meh. Like
Mm-hmm.
they added those international cards into the pools and they spiced them up a little bit, but it was still pretty meh.
Yeah, I almost feel like the coolest thing that's going to come out of it is if they sign more federations and we just get those cards like in the auctions.
Yeah.
But like I just don't see.
Will there be any leagues at all running at that time? Like
No.
none. Not even like a weird Australian league or something.
Uh, I don't know actually. I know like the main ones
For
are all
the
taken.
Aussies out there, I apologize for calling your league weird. The MLS is weird.
Hmm.
Liga MX is weird. So
I would imagine they add the A League at some point.
I think so too. Yeah. Yeah, I would think so. I think it's big enough.
But yeah, I think people will underestimate how they overestimate how many like games there actually are in the World Cup. Like you're buying cards for the World Cup, and it's possible that some of the cards you buy have 3 games,
Right.
and you're is
Oh,
that worth it?
and I guess too, like if you're a planner, at least you know the groups now, so you can start kind of like
Yep.
because the game like do we don't have schedules yet, do we? Maybe we do.
I think they have. I think we have matchup. Yeah, I think they might have schedules. I thought we knew like who was playing. Like we're playing England second. I think like our second
Yeah.
game.
So I guess you could make plans and try to like figure out what players you have playing during which game weeks. And man, that sounds so complicated.
It
No, thank
it,
you.
it it sounds really complicated, and I just don't think it's worth like the time. That's kind of
Uh,
like
unless they make some kind of announcement that's like, yeah, prize pools are going to be lit, and you're going to want to compete, and like they really make it to where people want to participate, then yeah, I would probably go buy some goalies that actually play.
I guess.
Because that's the big bottleneck there is goalkeepers that actually play in the World Cup.
Right. Right. John Andrews brought up that the fourth division in the U.S. is probably playing. Actually, I don't think they play in the winter. Now that we have this stupid winter World Cup. Yes, what I say, he said, I saw that the Sydney FC logo was on Sorare for the Champions League.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything coming, but
A-League confirmed.
yeah. Oh yeah, and commons will be gone by then. They won't be gone. In fact, we'll all have hundreds of them by then. But they just won't be usable anywhere.
Oh yeah, England USA on Black Friday. That could that be the most televised in America soccer game of all time? Soccer
I
game of
I
all time?
saw somebody say that the other day. It's got to be up there.
Yeah.
I don't know what the record is now, but
Trying
that
to
should
think
be up
of
there.
yeah. Just sell the cards.
Yeah, I don't know. I just need more ETH. I need people to buy all my crappy cards that I'm trying to sell.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem is a lot of people are doing that right now is they're just trying to sell cards, get the ETH, and then wait and prepare for either the new MLS cards or to make moves during the summer.
I think I think it's going to be a bummer for all of us who have a lot of MLS cards when we see the new ones and we're like, damn, those are so much better. Just like the way they look. Like our
Yeah,
big head cards are going to look so stupid.
man, should I sell? Should I sell some of my MLS cards so that I can get the not big head versions?
Yeah, all of them.
Like
Get your SP
Guzan,
bonus.
no more giant Guzan head.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll still have a giant head there.
Eh,
Actually, does he have the do we have the new Guzan
we
picture yet?
should, yeah, we should because we have all the Atlanta United pictures are on there, right?
Is that new? I don't even know if that's new.
Yeah, I don't think that's new.
Um it's a new shirt. Unless this is like one of the photoshopped like
I think that's Photoshop because that's the same picture. I think
oh, is it?
it looks like it, and I think his 2019 and 2020 cards all have the same picture. Like I think every year it's the same picture on his cards, or
Oh, he
he's
doesn't have
just
2019.
really like photogenic and he never changes his expression.
Um yeah, I don't know. It's like the goalie shirt throws it off. I don't know if that's a good one.
Trippin' B's calling us crazy. He said big heads will be collector's items in 3 to 4 years. Easy.
You know, it's going to be a better collector item. The Carlos Acevedo tiny head cards.
Ooh, yeah,
Nobody wants big heads; they want tiny heads.
yeah, yeah. Zoolander. Yeah, is that Magnum?
Where are these tiny? There they are. Those are the cards we want.
Yeah.
For those listening, just look up the Carlos Acevedo cards on SoRare. Let's see. What is this? Number 274 of 1,000. Those are the cards we want.
I think Liga MX, they have a few game weeks left, and then they're going to be going into the playoffs and then have a very, very brief break. I think, let's see here.
They start on July 1st, don't they?
Yeah, so their last league game, they're in match week 14 now, and 14 of 17. So there's like 4 more league games, playoffs.
Midweeks.
Yeah, I think 2 midweeks left.
Yeah, we're in
Which
one.
is always fun. And then what is that, about a month long break? I guess it depends on if your team goes deep in the playoffs or
I
not.
was gonna say, you just hoping for an Atlas Santos final, so they just keep going.
I don't think Santos is going to be able to do much damage, but maybe
Doesn't sound like it.
maybe Atlas can finish in the top 4 or whatever, and then win a couple playoff games. Be nice.
Did they win last year?
They did, yeah.
Or they won the Apertura, right?
Yeah, it was the first time they've won it, and it was either ever or 50 years or something absurd.
That sounds like it's really different, but it probably isn't. Like,
Yeah.
Ever or 50 years. Well, now that I'm a total Atlas fanboy, let's.
Oh yeah. So Vargas and Santa Maria.
Yeah.
Nobody else though.
I sold my Furch months ago.
He just had a hot game.
Did he?
Oh yeah. Like 80 plus.
Oh my God. Don't tell me that.
But it's okay. He'll go back to he'll have one more. He's gonna score a couple goals this week. And then he'll go back to they have a midweek where they play somebody soft.
Mazatlan.
There you go. Yeah. That sounds like 2 goals for him. Book it.
Was there a Liga MX dip? How do they not have the entire league for Liga MX yet?
Sometimes I kind of wonder if they do and they just hold stuff back.
Why?
I don't know. I'm sure they have reasons for stuff. I used to always think that they would release, if they had 5 or 6 teams from a league, they would release the teams with the worst players first. So you're like, ooh, I got to buy some players from Serie A. And then they come out with a little better team. And then you're like, oh, the better players are on here now. I want to get those. And then they just keep doing that. And then finally you're like, well, if I want the best players, I got to buy the, I don't know.
Did you buy any Chilean guys?
Mm-mm. The first thing I did was check to see if that magically removed the red X off of any players on my gallery, and it didn't.
You're not a Yamil Assad owner?
No. I did dig through my gallery though, and I found that I have guys in the Colombian League, Uruguayan League, so I need those leagues, not the Chilean League though.
They didn't move the globe enough.
No, somebody mentioned the Ecuadorian League. Maybe there's some good players in that league.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe we'll get it.
What do you think we get first, Challenger America or 2 different Challenger Europes?
Man, how would you even break those up?
I would just use the equator. Challenger North and Challenger South? No?
Oh, man. Well, I was thinking Europe. How do you break that up? I think in America,
Europe would be tough.
Obviously MLS is in Champion America. I don't know. I guess it'd be tough. We kind of chatted about it the other day, and you can come up with you could use FIFA rankings for the leagues or something to determine which one they're in. I don't know. I don't know that I like how the leagues are structured now anyways. I think pie in the sky dream, they get all the leagues, all the teams from all the leagues, and you can enter the MLS competition. You can enter the MX competition. You can all of them are separate,
Yeah.
but I don't think we're anywhere close to that ever being a thing. And then you still have gas and Global All Star U23 for like mixed teams and stuff like
Yep.
that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Might be a dumb idea.
I would imagine that's somebody's idea at Sorare, or at least it was at some point. Whether it still is, I don't know, but it makes sense.
Early on, we had a Jupiler only competition where it was just the Belgian league because they didn't have any other challenger teams yet.
Right.
Or maybe no, they did have other challenger teams, but the idea was it was encapsulating them.
They did special weeklies like that sporadically.
Yeah.
Those are gone now, I think. Conference Europe. Oh, Conference Europe. Ugh. That makes sense, I guess. Champion Europe, Challenger Europe, Conference Europe. I think the problem with that is that I think the right way to do it is to take teams from leagues instead of doing total leagues.
Yeah.
Like if you did.
I mean, can you imagine like the Eredivisie League? Like, yeah, you're just gonna have Ajax punishing everyone.
Right. So like, why not?
Which they already are, though.
Oh, that's true. No, but do like a challenge, whatever we're calling the top challenger Europe league of like Ajax,
yeah,
Porto, Sporting, Benfica. You could probably throw in PSV, maybe Alkmaar, Zagreb, Celtic when they're on.
How would you just say like the top two to four teams from all of those leagues would just go into this pot?
Yeah, but I don't know if you really want to do it that way. Like, I don't think you want like some who's leading Jupiler now? That promoted team.
Yeah, Royal Saint Gilles Union,
Saint whatever the hell they're called.
Yeah.
Like, do you really want them there instead of Bruges? Like, actually, you want them there?
Well, I mean, if you did top four, it would be Bruges, Royal, who else? Anderlecht
and Antwerp or whoever.
Yeah, it is
not Genk.
Yeah.
Sure as hell ain't Genk.
So those four would go into champion or challenger, whatever the top challenger division is. Challenger 1.
Right.
Along with, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you'd have to do it that way. And splitting teams out from their domestic league just feels weird.
I guess that's a way that you could like artificially give value to like lower tier players because they would be, you wouldn't have to try to, your 45 average guy. I don't know. You'd still be up against some tough competition. I guess
there's still good players from those teams.
Yeah.
Salzburg, that's another one that would be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with John Andrews here, though. Like season to season, if you have like, you're like, oh, I have Challenger 1 players, and then you're like, oh no, they came in 5th.
That's the hard part because it would be a good balancing, like it would balance the game out really well, but it would be really confusing for like a new player to come in and learn the game. They'd be like, oh, so these teams from this league are over. Like it just wouldn't make a ton of sense. Which, yeah, they could figure it out and whatever,
and you'd hear all of us talk about how some team was like relegated from Challenger 1, and they'd be like, "Oh, they were relegated." So
wait, Ajax was relegated? What?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Again, I think this is hopefully this is an idea that they've spoken about, just because it's like an idea, and so I just hope that they have like weekly meetings of like, "Hey, what would be fun?"
Yeah.
And then they talk about it, and then they're like, if it's not fun, then it's not fun.
Maybe not even fun, but does it make sense? Does it help balance the game?
Right.
Is it good for, Sorare financially? Because I think that would probably be a driving factor to one of these decisions.
Right. Usually you want to make decisions that help you make more money when you're a business.
Right.
That's something people forget a lot. Sorare is a business.
Speaking of which, they're doing kind of a charity thing, right?
I guess so.
I don't know. I saw the thing and was just like, okay, I got no issue with it. I don't have a lot of like, I don't know.
Did you have, I don't know if I really want to talk about this, but
Go
did you
for it.
have an opinion on the fact that they collected all that money for the COVID donation and then never paid out?
Well, so that was really more the French community was a part, that I think that was driven by them. So it'd probably be unfair for me to have like an opinion, but um, I read the response that they gave today, and I was like, all right, yeah, that seems reasonable. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that they're giving it away to. And guess what? ETH has gone up 20 times, so it ended up. I think everybody's winners there. So,
Yeah.
but again, like, yeah, I'm probably not. It's not fair for me to have a strong take on that.
I will say those who were involved had strong takes on it and were very upset at what happened and are
Gotcha.
okay now that it's been somewhat rectified.
That's good.
That's all we have to say about that.
Well, and you're closer to the French community than I am, as you work with a lot of them, and
Mm.
there's I'm sure connections there. So you hear more of that.
Yeah, it was one that I had heard a few times of just like I'm not sure what happened to that, and Sorare was a little quiet about it. So this at least makes sense. I actually was more interested in the fact that they like thought they had Atalanta signed and then like it didn't happen. They're like, oh, what happened? How does that not happen?
Yeah, I wonder how. I'll bet that happens a lot, where you
Mm-hmm.
know they think they have a deal in place, and then something happens. Because we had we had a few releases where they were like they announced a new team, and then they said that the release was going to be a certain day, and then like it didn't happen, and then
Never
they were
happened.
and then people got mad, and it was just like they thought that they like had it locked down, and then
Mm-hmm.
something last minute happened, and probably some lawyer came in and you know messed
Damn
everything up for
lawyers.
everyone, ruined the fun.
But at least we got Monza.
Is that the Chilean club? No.
No, that's the Serie B club.
Oh, right. Yeah. Are they doing well though?
I have no idea.
That would be funny if they were like a promotion, like they were getting promoted and nobody was paying attention, and you could like start scooping up all those guys.
My favorite thing. Oh my God, they're second.
Are they?
Wow,
Everybody,
for the
there's going to be a run on Monza. Is that
Monza.
Serie B?
So my favorite thing was when they announced Monza and they were talking about how they had just gotten promoted, and everyone's like, "They didn't get. What do you mean?" And it was like, "Oh, they got promoted to Serie B." Like, oh, that's not the same thing as like what we're all thinking. Look
Hmm.
at you. You saved ETH for all the Monza cards. Are the Monza did the Monza cards dip?
How many teams get promoted from there?
I assume there's like a. I thought it was three. Maybe they have a playoff. It's an extremely tight race though.
Is it?
First is 65 points and sixth is 60.
It says
Monza still
one
comfortably at 63.
and two get promotion. Three, four,
In the
five, six,
playoffs.
seven, and eight go to promotion playoffs.
Yeah.
Hmm. But
Yeah, we could have some Monza champion Europe next year, buddy.
so they're tied with the third place team, right? Is that what I'm
They
saying?
are. They're up
Okay.
on goal differential.
So they're in a tough spot, but maybe we should be buying Monza cards right now instead of you know talking about buying Monza cards.
Yeah.
Who's their best player?
Yeah.
Just curious. Just curious.
AC Monza. This is
These
going to be
team
some live
pages.
degeneracy right here. Oh, we don't have
Team
Serie B
page.
stats. I forgot about that.
Oh, you don't.
No, of course not.
Hmm.
Okay, you got a young goalie who knows if he plays. This is fun. We can just guess based on like age and look if any of these guys start.
So if they have stats, that's from like Serie A or something. Like they
That's a
from a
good
different
point.
league, I would imagine.
Um,
Or is the goalkeeper U23? Is it
no, he's 24.
Stefano Ruby, Joe?
I mean, I Who
Because
knows?
they have a 19-year-old.
They have a 19. Yeah, here. Yeah, I got him here. My gosh, this is when we need all the Europeans in the chat.
When are you guys gonna? When are you guys gonna get Serie B stats?
No.
Oh,
Right,
you're
let me see.
not gonna happen.
It's not happening.
That's disappointing.
Let's
It
see.
looks
They
like
played.
DeGrigio is the goalkeeper, but
Oh, bummer, dude.
he might be. I mean, I guess
Gregorio,
he's U23 right now.
Michelle. Yeah, he's already 24. Let's see who's on the bench. Lamont. Yeah, I don't think Ruby's even on the bench. But Christian Geicher took a penalty.
All I'm going to say is ESPN has Serie B stats.
Oh.
Did Mario Balotelli play for them this year?
I don't. Did he?
I don't know. Maybe part of the year or something.
He's been in Turkey for a while, I thought. Let's see. He did play for Monza last season. 5 goals and 12 appearances. What are we doing?
I mean, why not, right?
So GS says Velotti is the best player according to SofaScore. Where's he?
That's what I need to be using. SofaScore.
28-year-old midfielder. I was on SofaScore there to see.
You know, what's crazy is if they get promoted, they probably end up buying a bunch of players, and none of these players.
Yeah, all these guys leave.
Yeah.
John Andrews said, "I hope you're changing the episode name to the Monza Bundle."
That'll be next week. After we find out, if they win this week and they're 3 points clear of relegation, then we're gonna be having
not relegation of the third place
promotion. I'm sorry.
Playoff.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Bruno Ferreira says Danny Mota is good. Is that even somebody on the team? Who are these people? How do we even have Oh, there he is.
They have very
23.
Italian-looking names.
Oh, he loses it. He'll never be U23 for us. Oh, well. So this is what happens if you are able to listen to Andy and I for an hour and 10 minutes. We bring the good stuff out at the end, like the AC Monza live scouting. We really need, and I always hate to outsource stuff like this, but we need to go over to Quinny's Y Scout scouting videos.
Yeah.
So Quinny, if you're somehow still listening to this, we would love, because I believe both of us are members of Quinny's YouTube channel.
Yep.
We'd love a subscriber-only AC Monza video.
That's right. And
it's funny, he probably did one 4 months ago.
He might have. Just looking at their ratings on SofaScore, it's none of these guys are very good.
In the second division, no less.
Yeah. They're second place, and
yeah.
Yeah.
John Andrews said, "I pay $45 for this."
Oh boy.
That Danny Mota looks good though. It's true. L5 of 62. Oh yeah. Oh, I bet these guys would crush Underdog, or at least they'd be eligible. Crushes.
Why do you think that?
Because they all have L15s below 40.
Yeah. So if you click on Danny Mota, just out of curiosity, where is it getting those stats from? It has to be long ago, or international play or something. Maybe he plays on an international team. He played 3 games with Portugal, maybe?
I don't even know. I mean, this was game week 170.
Oh, Bruno Ferreira says he was Portugal U21, maybe?
Oh, there he is. There we go. Why the hell do we have those stats?
Well, those counted, right? We had that, it was the U21 World Cup qualifiers or whatever.
Wow.
Do you
that was before my time.
No. Okay, so those stats are weird. I don't know why those exist, but just this past year we had.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because remember, like
There's
David Ochoa played in one of the games
yeah,
for the U.S.
U21 Euros.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm. But anyway, that's where the stats come from. Those
Gotcha.
random games. But that seems promising. He was a U21, Portugal U20. You know who used to be a Portugal U21? Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, I thought you were going to say João Felix.
João Felix probably was too.
Yeah.
Maybe Bruno. All right, let's go buy this guy. How much does he cost?
There's no floor price. It looks like not a lot of market activity on him.
3 rare cards. Who bought these rare cards?
Are all the Monza guys like that?
Oh, they're all in bundles. That's why. Let's find out.
There's one unique Monza card, and it's Danny Mata. Nanzo owns him. I think Nanzo listens every once in a while.
He definitely does.
He's jumping for joy right now with this discussion.
He's probably sitting there like, no, stop talking about Monza. Giving away my edge.
There's only 100 rare Monza cards total.
Huh.
Oh, no. Am I looking at cards currently listed? No. I think
that could be it. I would believe that.
This is 100 cards, yeah.
Where's that, at the top?
I'm on Sorare Native right now.
Yeah. I'm asking you where to find it. That's funny. Okay. This is what happens when we do SorareAndrews After Dark. We end up in a Monza hole.
I was kind of hoping that I might see a newly listed Monza card from somebody in chat that was like 3 ETH for this guy. But I mean, there's some guys out there for 0.01 ETH that, I don't know, probably not worth a flyer at all because, as we said, these guys are all going to get sold and they're going to buy a new squad. But I don't know.
Monza doesn't even show up on the...
Oh, that's cool. The site of the Italian Grand Prix.
We didn't show up. Bummer. Oh, well. Well, I think we have to cut this off. The Monza scouting.
Yeah. It would be really fun, though, if they got promoted. Just saying.
I totally agree. Sorare could just have one giant, we told you so.
Do you think they'd just try to sell them all?
Yes.
Well, I guess they could. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Totally until the new season cards come out?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I would imagine they have the team forever, so they'll have new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet they sell the hell out of those things if they get.
It would be hilarious. Because everyone complained so much when they came out. And guess what? It would still be bad. If they sold them, it would still be bad because who knows what players would even be left on the team, come start of season. But
do you think they move them into the reward pool as soon as they get promoted?
I'm not even gonna take that bait. I don't know. Yeah.
We haven't had a reward controversy in a while. That would be a really fun one. As soon as they book promotion.
We're about to get some reward controversies here because we are April 12th and U23 guys expire here in another 2.5 months, something like that. So there's going to be people that, again, win U23 cards that have no game week eligibility at all.
I won one the other day. Yeah, today. No, it was last week.
That loses it in 2 months.
Well, it's really 1 month because it's a European card. So 4 games left or whatever it is.
Yeah.
There's probably some garbage Belgian guy who has 3 games left and that's it.
Fun.
It was good. Anyway, thank you to everybody who has joined us in chat, especially those who are so willing to share the Monza knowledge, because obviously Andy and I are not experts when it comes to 2nd division Italian football. 4th division American soccer, we are all over. Second division Italian, not as much. So thank you everybody for joining us live. Apologies to all those who are staying up really late, but also good morning for those of you who are enjoying us instead of working there. I guess it's probably Wednesday for you. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button below, that's always greatly appreciated. If you guys are watching the replay and have somehow been able to make it this long, the like button is always appreciated. And for those listening to the audio version, if you could please rate and review it. I'll be honest, I've been a little disappointed with the rating numbers. Not so much the ratings themselves, just the number of ratings. So if you guys would really just take 2 seconds, I feel like Nellis just like begging people for reviews or ratings, but they all help. So if you guys wouldn't mind doing that, we would be very thankful for that. So we'll be back next week. I'll be back later this week with the Sorare Data Strategy Show. Sean is out this week. Quinny is in. So tune in for that on Friday. And then Andy and I will be back next week for this show where we will go the full hour and 20 minutes just about Monza. So
Series C, maybe. Or D, I guess, would be fourth division. So.
D, right. Yeah. Go Steel City.